I'm Elizabeth Gay, high school English teacher. I invite you now to take a look into my daily classroom life, organic and uncensored. It is my hope that the following clips expose you to the realistic experience of relevant English instruction. Each day is a new goal toward equipping students for success in both their educational and personal lives. I strive to include cross-curricular content and skills within the open framework of reading, writing, and discussing English texts. So go ahead and sit back as we venture into various days of my classroom. Perhaps even you and I can continue to learn something in this short time together. And I don't have to touch it. You got your literature book?
Oh, I kind of like Monday. Sounds like a fun word. Gotta get a book. Gotta get a book.
Got your book?
Nope.
Go get it. Go get it. Got your book?
Every time
Awesome.
I got the book.
Book? Good.
Sweet.
Book?
That's
Good.
delightful.
The vocabulary bell ringer serves to review and utilize weekly vocabulary each day in class. Beyond focusing the class, this time also allows students to collect necessary supplies and prepare for the period to begin. Pencils may be borrowed from the front of the classroom. Students write their names on the board to designate their borrow. Paper is provided for those students who do not bring appropriate supplies to class so that they may indeed participate.
Would somebody tell me what it is that we're reading today?
When introducing main objectives, I first ask open-ended questions to the students to activate prior knowledge or experience they may have on the topic. I am continually amazed at their recall and their questions that nearly always segue into the lesson I have planned.
So what kind of civil disobedience was Martin Luther King known for?
Boycotts.
Yeah, boycotts, and what else?
Sit-ins.
Sit-ins, yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but marches also, right? There's all this stuff. With the I Have a Dream was a march into Washington. Yes, ma'am.
You know, on that bridge, what was that going? I forgot what the bridge was. They had crossed that bridge. I seen it on a movie.
The one that leads to the Lincoln Memorial?
I think so.
I know which bridge you're talking about. I don't know what the name of it is, but I think it crosses the Delaware River.
So that's when he was going to do his speech?
Yes.
I Had a Dream?
Yes. They marched over that bridge all
They
the
got off
way
the
up
bus
to.
And they start marching.
Yes, that's exactly. And so this was an act of civil disobedience, being calm, but being something, or protesting, or being against the law in some ways. So we're going to read this and find out what he has to say about civil disobedience, to see why he thinks that is justified and what might be wrong with the laws. All right, so you should be on page 281.
As we read texts in class, I frequently stop to check for understanding, questions, and analysis of the text. I perpetually encourage students to return to the text to find answers for themselves.
That's right. What makes a just law?
Everybody agrees.
No. What's it says in here?
Or it breaks the law.
Okay, if it's moral, or if it is a just law, it doesn't break it, but it follows that, right? So if you think of intersections in math, that's when two lines come together, right, to form one point. So if you've got the law of God or a moral law, and then it meets with whatever the man-made law is, and they intersect, then that law is a just law. Now, what's an unjust law? What's an unjust law?
Something breaks it.
Something that breaks those two things. And specifically, what's he saying in this third paragraph? What's he say about Alabama legislature? The Alabama legislature. Yeah, they maintained the segregation so that another fact. So along with all of his opinion and with all of his argument, there's also all these little facts that are laced in there and mixed in there. If this was your text that you're doing your research project on, then
Relevance is key for education. After each key skill has been practiced together, I try to connect the whole group lesson to the same procedure the students will achieve as individuals.
absolutely, yeah, it's unjust and just laws. That's the kind of main point. But he uses all of these little bits of history to support it. And so if this were your text, you take that whole idea and then you look back into what the specific things are. So today, I'm going to give you guys some tools I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to research effectively. Because guess what, guys? I hate doing research because it takes so long, and you have to read all this stuff, and there's just so much information out there, and how are we supposed to find it? So I'm going to try to give you some tricks that you can use that will narrow down your search, that'll help you focus on those things that are going to be really important for your research paper. The very first bit of history.
I strive to follow a scaffold method for student learning as outlined by Peter Smagorinsky, from teacher modeling in a whole group setting to small group practice with immediate feedback to individual application of the procedure.
We can search.
The Supreme Court decision in 1954 outlawing
Supreme Court decision.
You already wrote it.
All right. If we write all of that about the Supreme Court decision, and we just use that whole quote, what's going to end up happening in our search?
Either it's going to be too much or too little.
It's going to be too much, and if we type in everything from this one line, you know what's going to happen is that letter for a Birmingham City Jail is going to come up in all of your research, or in all of these sources. It's just going to be over and over and over again, letter for a Birmingham City Jail. So you're not going to get anywhere with that. So we've got Supreme Court decision. What year?
1954.
What's the year? 1954. Do you think they only made one decision in 1954?
No.
No. Do you think they made a lot?
Yeah.
Yes. So how can we narrow it down even farther?
Public schools. In the
Public schools. I like that. So let's write public schools. There's all of this text, all of this information. Does anybody know any tricks that we might be able to find this thing about Augustine?
Search.
You can scan. That's one way, but then we still gotta read it. This is gonna, and that's gonna search the whole website, like the whole website, like so all of the different pages. What if we just wanted to look at this one web page? Anybody got one? There's a tool that you can use in your browser. You go under where it says Tools, where mine is just a little wrench over here, and then you're gonna go down to this thing that says Find. See Find, and then you're gonna click it, and then look what's popped up. It's its own little box right over here. You can also hit Control F on your keyboard, and you'll be able to get to this same tool. And then now you can type in a direct quote. So then we're going to write an unjust law, and then you hit Enter, and let's see what happens. It searches down the page.
One of my main goals is to introduce tools that can be used for everyday application. With various technology, whether archaic or modern, the students have many opportunities to become agents of their own independence.
Now that next thing is to find a detail. What is it from the text, from the source that we've got? Where is it? What information do we need to include next about the event? Yes, ma'am. What's the most important fact of all? Yes, awesome. So he saw Negroes chained, maltreated, whipped, and scourged. It's the slaves that he saw. That's what's important about him going to Mississippi. So, how do you like these words? Maltreated, whipped, scourged. Are they...
Students often find formal writing difficult and obtuse. By following the scaffold method, writing example papers together as a class allows students to engage metacognitively in the writing process, as seen in this clip.
So if we wanted to use these words, because they're a good word choice, there you go, what do we need to do to add it in here? Quote. Yeah, quote, right? Okay, so how can we put this? So let's make a sentence using the quote. What do we need to say first? Who is it?
Okay, I did what you told me to. Awesome. Now you need two sentences to tell me what it's about. So make one sentence to tell me what the source is about, and then tell another one about like if you think it's useful or what parts you might think it's useful. So like, I'm just trying to get this straight. I heard you. Yeah, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Like the source would be about her, like what all of her life. This part about like what her poem was about that she wrote about.
A workshop setting allows the students to work independently on their own projects and in collaboration with their classmates for resources, successes, and troubleshooting. The time allows students to complete assignments with guidance and assistance from me and from each other.
Tells me that you might find what you found. So remember on our when I had the appeal from the court case, and then how I would say it has each appeal, and these can be used to demonstrate what was important to them. So it might demonstrate something else that was important to Emily did. So.
Oh, Max, I'm gonna come out and erase my paper or nothing.
So, what's the topic that you're going to say if you were going to talk about this story? What's the one thing that you're going to say if we talked about this? Huh?
I'm like, what would you do if they banned music in our school?
I would riot. Literally.
So, it's something about the banning of music in the school, right? So what's the article about?
Music being banned.
Make the question into
Kaboom.
yeah, the music being banned, and
What would you
not
do
only
if
what
music
was
banned?
yeah, and asking that question leads to
Supervised small group time allows for students to explore personal reactions to texts and lessons. In a small group setting, I can thoroughly assess comprehension and connection of the material at hand while offering personal engagement and relationships with each student.
it's an agreement. No, it's not an
No,
agreement.
it's a
It's basically
fight.
trying to solve.
It's a fight.
It's a fight. So controversy is a fight, right? So is that what the topic is about? The controversy of the music ban?
Yes.
Kinda.
Small group settings also can reinforce the importance of students listening to other students to experience organic learning. By listening to one another and building on each other's ideas, the students can reflect on how the lessons are relevant to their everyday lives.
Awesome. Great summary. Satya, what did you watch last night?
I watched Finish That for they were gonna make a car wash thingy.
I love the car wash episode.
Yeah.
Don't they make themselves small?
Oh my god, it was funny.
So, Cece, would you summarize what Satya was
He watched Phineas and Ferb last night, and there was the episode where they make the car.
Why do you think that they kept it at the elementary and middle schools?
Because they need to focus on getting to high school and not worry about everything else.
And what did you say, Tasha?
They're responsible and focus on it.
Yeah, that they're irresponsible.
Because,
That's
like,
a really good point.
some of us-
I mean, now in high school, you kind of start to get
You
a
could
sense of
do
whether you
two-
can do it or
You
not.
can do two different things at once.
Though in the middle school and elementary school,
You really don't know.
Yeah, you're still pretty young. I mean, you guys are still pretty young, even. But at least you're more apt to be able to do this. Awesome. Okay.
While I lead small group work and discussion, other students rotate through various stations of the classroom. Some students read choice novels in their first station. These novels are coupled with extension assignments and assessments upon completion of the novel. Other students follow a computer-based program from Scholastic Incorporated as their first station. The Read 180 program provides grade-level assessments and performance data that align with the national and state standards. Each student spends 20 minutes at each station during a class period. Thank you for taking a look inside my classroom. I hope I have shared with you the methods and strategies I use to engage each student. I love facilitating students' personal ownership of their education. I hope this inspires the continued pursuit of excellence in our learning community.